My grandfather had 5 sons. My dad was the eldest, and I was the first grandson. All 5 sons went into the trades, and eventually rose to either professional positions in larger companies, or started their own business. As the oldest grandchild, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my parents were starting their business. After my grandmother passed and grandfather had retired, he sold the house and most everything else, and bought acreage in the mountains. He'd been born in a rural area, and could best be described as a hillbilly. He loved gardening, hunting, fishing, and as I grew older, we remained close, as I was into the same things. I worked for my father's business, and got into investing and playing the stock market. I soon started to build a portfolio of high-dividend stocks. Fast forward a few years, and I buy some acreage bordering my grandfather. He'd built a small cabin, heated and cooked with wood, and got a propane refrigerator. He used oil lamps and a pair of gas lamps piped to the propane. I eventually bought a log cabin kit and even added solar and a metal insulated roof. My grandfather was impressed, so I helped him put in a Kohler system, ground mounted to make it easier to clean, and when it got to be time to redo his roof, I called some guys and we did the insulted metal. And I may have lied about what the materials cost, since my grandfather lived on his pension and Social Security. His sons visited once a year, but were usually too busy, family, in-laws, etc. I developed a heart condition and retired early and moved to the cabin for a more relaxed, easygoing pace. None of the other grandkids were even slightly interested in what we were doing, but my grandfather and I enjoyed the quiet, getting to hike and hunt as we please. A few months ago my grandfather passed. The whole family showed up at the funeral as expected, and all went well, sharing stories of the younger days with him and Grandma. Then one of my uncles asked what happened to the bag of $20 gold pieces my grandfather had. I had no idea. Then we were contacted by the lawyer for the reading of my grandfather's will. I inherited his acreage and cabin as well as its contents and what remained of his assets. Since we'd been close, I assured everyone that I'd look for the gold pieces, as I thought they were family assets that the 5 brothers should have. Everyone was satisfied until I learned that my grandfather had lived for over 20 years while receiving a pension and Social Security, while spending very little, a lot less than he received. He had his bank set up an investment plan in high-growth securities. Seems my grandfather left me close to $5 million, along with over 100 acres that have increased in value. I found the gold coins in a bag in my grandfather's old desk and handed them off to my uncles and dad to divide. That's when the shitstorm hit. My uncles are now swearing that they were more than what I handed over, and I told them that it's all I found, but if any more turn up, I'll let them know. They want me to sell the land my grandfather left me to make up for the missing coins. My cousins, the other grandkids, never had any time for my grandfather. He was just an old man who lived up in the mountains. Am I the O for not offering to split my inheritance with my cousins? My father is fighting mad, as it seems to him that his brothers are suggesting I stole the coins. The problem corrected itself. Seems my grandfather's lawyer contacted the family, per the will. Seems my grandfather was every bit as ornery as I'd always been told. He'd instructed his lawyer to hold a strong box that contained, among other things, the coins, as well as some stock certificates my grandmother had inherited, IBM shares from the 1940s. My grandfather also left a letter informing all members of the family that he wanted to see if the family would come together to celebrate his life, or get greedy, wanted material wealth. All family members who came up to celebrate his life was to receive an equal share. Those who fought for material wealth would receive nothing, and he wanted all items liquidated and the cash value placed into the account. He'd set up to buy additional property here in the mountains. Calm as a bitch. My uncles are out and I feel vindicated.